This is a newspaper ad for the 1996 movie Scream. Notice Drew Barrymore takes up the most space. And yet, when you watch the movie, her character, spoiler, dies at the 12-minute mark. It seems like audiences should have felt tricked and upset. And yet, Scream is one of the most profitable slasher movies of all time and is now a cult classic. So how do they pull off killing their star? The answer is actually simpler than you think, and once you know it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. So let's talk about how they broke the rules and why. This is Unstructured by Plotwell. In case you've forgotten, Scream is a classic horror movie about serial killer Ghostface terrorizing a town. The movie starts with Casey, played by Drew Barrymore, at home. She receives a call from a creepy voice, and in the next 12 minutes, Casey is chased around the house, she and her boyfriend are killed, and her parents discover her body. If you watched this movie in theaters in 1996, you'd probably be confused. On top of the newspaper ad, many promotional materials featured Barrymore, like the poster, and even the trailer was cut to make it seem as though she appeared later in the film. And yet, here you are, 12 minutes in, and the star of the movie is dead. In fact, in the next shot, we're introduced to Sydney, the true main character, and from here the story begins. There are many movies that kill off a major character like this. The closest example is Psycho, wherein director Hitchcock famously killed off his main character in the middle of the movie. So how did Scream get away with marketing a film around Drew Barrymore, then killing her off so early? The answer is two-parted, and the first part is that this is actually more common than you think. Check out the start of Jaws as an example. We start with a bunch of teenagers hanging out on a beach. A girl heads off to swim, and, wouldn't you know it, the giant shark that's hanging around the beaches gobbles her up. Or look at Jurassic Park. We start with workers loading a cage with a velociraptor, and, surprise, the dinosaur attacks and kills one of its handlers. So what's happening in these examples? In both, the story starts with a kind of prologue that introduces the villain. This is a relatively common story structure technique that we call the glimpse of evil. Instead of starting on the hero, we start on the villain. These examples include a death, but that's not always the case. Check out Disney's Mulan and you'll see a glimpse of evil as the story starts by introducing villain Shan Yu attacking the Great Wall. The glimpse of evil can be used in many ways, but it's most common in horror and action movies because it starts the story with a bang. It also sets the stakes and shows us what the hero is up against. Scream is doing the same thing. The 12-minute scene with Barrymore is a glimpse of evil that introduces us to Ghostface, the movie's villain. It starts the story with a bang, sets the stakes, and shows us what the hero will be up against. Only, unlike in our other examples, it kills off who we believe to be the hero. So why didn't this hurt the movie? The big difference between Scream and our other examples is length, and this is the key to how they got away with killing Barrymore and the second part to our answer. In Jaws, the opening scene is just under 4 minutes. In Jurassic Park, it's under 3. Compare this to Scream's 12, and you'll see why this scene works. Viewers didn't feel cheated because they spent a significant amount of the movie with Barrymore. The opening is almost a short film in and of itself, and takes up almost an eighth of the total runtime. That's a lot of story time spent before we even meet the hero. So to keep us hooked, Scream made us believe that Barrymore was the hero. You could argue we would feel more upset if we spent this long on a character we knew wasn't the hero. Sure, the scene could have been shortened, but why waste a golden opportunity? Instead of a traditional glimpse of evil, Scream opted to deliver a double whammy, not only shocking us with Barrymore's early death, but also introducing Ghostface in an unforgettable way. Next time you watch a movie, see if it starts on the villain. And if it does, keep an eye on the clock. Chances are, if the scene works, it's probably short. We don't want to feel like we're wasting time at the start of a story. We want to meet the hero quickly. So part of the reason Scream works is actually because of the tricky marketing. We don't feel like we're treading water with a soon-to-die minor character. We feel like we're already racing into the story. And because we've seen glimpses of evil before, we're not upset when Barrymore dies because this makes sense. It's just a prologue, and now the story can really begin. So even though Scream butchered its star, it did so for a good reason. Believing Barrymore was the hero drew us deeper into the opening, and to make sure we didn't feel cheated, Scream gave us plenty of time with Barrymore before she died. Sure, it could have used a throwaway character, but instead, Scream made Ghostface one of the most memorable villains in horror history, and all it took was some clever marketing.
That's the beauty of it all. Simplicity.